Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and back to a brand new video. I know it's been a couple of days. I've been on hiatus, but I am back. I am back to talk about the crazy. And there's no other craziness to discuss but the Paris Olympics. As if the opening ceremony wasn't bad enough. Now we have another scandal on our hands. Let's get right into this. So as most of you guys probably already know or probably have already heard, because it's pretty much everywhere right now, there is a new scandal happening with, once again, a person with high testosterone competing against women in sports. This time it is Olympic boxing. So a story just came out a day ago of an Italian boxer whose name is Angela Carini going up against an Algerian boxer by the name of Iman Khalif. And just by the looks of it, you can see that Iman looking a little mannish. And that is for good reason, because Iman is intersexed.
Yeah, 46 seconds of drama in the women's boxing there today. The Italian Angela Carini, she withdrew from the event after she was struck in the face by the Algerian boxer Iman Khalif.
Iman has a chromosomal abnormality known as intersex, where they are born with female parts, but they have male chromosomes. So yeah, there's that. So Iman has XY chromosomes and has a very high testosterone level. Iman actually was banned from boxing because he or she, I don't even know what to say because it's intersex, this person failed their gender test and their testosterone was way too high to compete against women. But somehow the Olympics said, you know what? We don't care about that. Come on down and compete. And what we saw was a complete disaster. The hit was too hard. And according to Angela, she said that this was one of the hardest hits that she's ever taken in her life, in her career. And she just couldn't continue. These are her actual words. I put an end to the match because after the second blow, after years of experience in the ring and a life of fighting, I felt a strong pain in my nose. You all saw my nose that started bleeding. I didn't lose tonight. I just surrendered with maturity. I am a mature woman. The ring is my life. Wow. And hearing Angela's story, you know, she was fighting for her father who passed away.
Non so se si sente. Lui è mio padre. Io ho fatto l'ultimo chilometro perché un giorno mi sentii stanca. Prima di Tokyo mi sentivo stanca. Dissi babbo, sono stanca, gli allenamenti sono intensi, però io non mollo. Lui mi disse, Angelina babbo, un campione è un po' come quando combatti, è un po' come il ciclismo. Il campione quando vede l'ultimo chilometro lo sa che cosa fa, pedala ancora di più. Allora tu arriva a quell'ultimo chilometro e pedala, vai fino in fondo perché io sarò sempre con te. E così ho fatto. Fino alla fine ho combattuto con sangue negli occhi perché volevo a tutti i costi questa vittoria.
It's just heartbreaking because you go to the Olympics and you think you're gonna fight for your country, you're gonna fight for your pride, you're gonna fight for your coaches, for the people who've sacrificed for you, for your family members, and to have her Olympic dream and her Olympic journey end like that is just crazy. It's sad, it's disgusting that the Olympics allowed this to happen and put that woman in harm's way. You know, I mean, regardless of how you feel about intersex people or if an intersex person should be allowed to even compete in the female category, we're talking about safety here, right? This isn't about politics. This isn't about being politically correct or incorrect. This is about safety for women. And we know in some sports and in some stages of sports, we've seen men be allowed to compete against women for the sake of politics and political correctness, like Leah Thomas. We've seen it in track and field. We've seen it a multitude of times where women have to be sacrificed on the altar of leftist political correctness. And that is what I feel is happening here. We saw the opening ceremony and how woke and disgusting that opening ceremony was. We all saw it. So it doesn't surprise me that the Olympics is allowing within boxing for intersex people to be able to compete against women, knowing that their testosterone levels are way too high. Even if you see this person as a woman, their testosterone levels are too high and it is unfair. In fact, World Athletics has officially banned intersex people from competing in that sport, which is track and field, because of the high testosterone levels and it not being a fair fight for women. A runner by the name of Caster Semenya, who's from South Africa, is intersexed, and at one point in time, she was able to compete.
A kick. She opened up a gap that is rarely seen over 800 meters. First across the line with a time of 1:55.28, a personal best and a South African national record.
Until World Athletics said, you know what? this is unfair. Her testosterone levels are way too high, and it's not fair to women competing against her. So therefore, she and other intersex people cannot compete against the women. It's just unfair. And I agree with that. 1000%. Now look, an intersex person is different from a trans person. We have to put that out there because people are confusing the two and saying that it's the same thing or that she's trans. She's not trans. She's intersex. An intersex person doesn't have a choice. An intersex person did not choose to be intersex. They were born with a deformity. Very few people have this, but it does occur when a person has testes and ovaries. They have male and female parts. And oftentimes, it's up to the parents and the doctors who decide when the baby is an infant what sex and gender they're going to be. So that most likely is what happened in this case. And as we know from records, this particular fighter has been living their life as a woman with very high testosterone levels. The problem with that is if you are into sports, you are going to have an unfair advantage against biological females who do not have the same testosterone levels that you have. So it's just not fair. It's just not fair. And I feel like the IOC, which is the International Olympic Committee, purposefully is allowing this to happen because we know that for whatever reason, they've gone woke and feel as though this is a political situation, right? And they don't want to be on the wrong side of history. Well, guess what? You're really on the wrong side of history now because a actual woman fighting with this person had to withdraw because they couldn't fight against somebody with that type of strength. That's no different than her fighting against a biological male. It's pretty much the same thing. And it's unfair. And I'm not blaming the intersex person because, again, they did not choose, unlike trans people, they did not choose to be born this way. It's a defect. But there still has to be fairness within sports. And it's just unfair to be intersex and to want to compete against women knowing that you have testosterone levels that are much higher than theirs and a system that says you can compete for the sake of political correctness. I'm sorry. That's just BS. It's not right. It's not fair. I feel that this person needs to be disqualified, and I feel like Angela should be put back in the tournament to fight another day because this is just unfair. Just unfair. And of course, you're seeing people on the left who are tweeting about this and saying that this is unfair to judge this poor intersex person and that it's just, people on the right being outraged over nothing, and she's a woman, so let her fight. Okay, would you let your daughters fight against someone who's intersex, who has testosterone levels of a man? If the answer is no, then you have no leg to stand on at all. But we know the left loves to play politics, loves to play chicken with stories like this because it feeds into their ridiculous narrative that people on the right are bigots. No. People on the right are trying to protect women in sports. End of story. And this intersex person has testosterone levels that are not making it fair for women to compete against. It's really that simple. There it is. But the reason why people on the left are fighting for intersex people to be in sports is because, this is a very key point here, the trans cult loves to use intersex people as a way to excuse trans people when they want to compete against women.
This issue, people like to say that it's a complicated issue, and I don't actually think it is. I think it's very simple. It all boils down to, do you actually think that trans women and intersex women are real women and are really female or not? And if you do, it's very simple. Just stop policing who counts as a real woman.
You will hear this time and time again. We're intersex people. Trans and intersex are two different things. Okay, a trans person chooses to transition. An intersex person was born that way, biologically and physically, and doesn't have a choice. So I actually feel for any intersex person because it wasn't their choice. Trans person is choosing to transition socially and physically. That's your choice. But the trans cult will try to use intersex people as a way to excuse their own behavior, to say, look, they exist, we're the same thing. No, you're not. Stop it. So don't fall for that trap, guys. Don't fall for that trap because it's a lie. They are not the same thing. They are two different things. However, two things can exist at the same time. We can say we have empathy for a person who was born intersex because it wasn't their choice. And we can also say that an intersex person has no business competing against women when their levels for testosterone are so high. I mean, it's just common sense, and it's called safety. That's just my take. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of this story. Do you think that an intersex person should be allowed to compete with women? Should there be a separate category for intersex people? What are your thoughts? In my opinion, I say make a different category for intersex people so that they can compete as well, because again, it's not their choice, it's not their fault, they're intersex, but there has to be fairness in sports, and we cannot put women's safety in sports at risk and on the line for the sake of trying to be politically correct for trans people. Because again, trans and intersex are two different things. Two different things. But the left will have you think it's the same thing. It's not. It's not. So frustrating, man. My heart breaks for the Italian boxer. I couldn't imagine training my whole life, getting to the Olympics, and then having to quit after 47 seconds because I can't compete against a person of a different gender who is much stronger, faster, and just better because of their biology. It's just not fair. It's not fair. Justice for Angela. If you enjoy my content, please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you know when I post a brand new video. Until next time. Peace.